So with the food web notes in mind from yesterday, we are going to do a food web poster. So this is going to be your summative project to show how you're doing with food webs. So the general idea is we're going to create a poster, which you're doing on your iPads, that shows how a stable ecosystem is affected by a disturbance. And we're going to predict the ways it can recover from its stability. There are literally hundreds of ways to do this correctly, so just use your logic and explanations, and I'm sure you will do a good job. You are to work individually, and two class days is for if you're in school. I expect it to take about 2, maybe 3 hours to get the whole thing done. So what we're going to do first, we're going to draw an original food web, and this is your list of organisms that need to be included. So notice how you have deer and grass. So here's our organism. I do not list all of the organisms here, like grass doesn't eat something else, so grass is just over here. So when you're looking for your producers, they're going to be listed here, but not here. Whereas these organisms need to, consume something, so they are on this side. So make sure everything that's listed here is on your original food web. So what I want you to do is create a rough draft, and you can just do it on your project. So what you'll need is go to Schoology, and this is your food web poster template. So use the template. You're going to draw your original food web here using these woodland animals that you see listed here. So get that put together. Try to avoid arrows going crisscross. Try to keep everything in a logical order. There is no specific location that each animal needs to be in. It just needs to be readable. Also, make sure you have a list on the bottom of producers, herbivores, carnivores, and omnivores. So take a look at the list and figure out which one is which. So put your food web here and your 4 lists here along the bottom. And don't forget to include the sun. That is part of our ecosystem. So do that there. If you would like to send me a screenshot of this draft, I would love to look at it just to make sure you're on the right track. Like if you're missing maybe the great horned owl or something, I can say, hey, you forgot the great horned owl. So feel free to send that over in a screenshot Schoology message, and I will do kind of a check. So once you have that ready, you're going to move on to a change. So you're going to create a disturbance that causes the elimination of an organism. So this right here is an example from the notes, so do not copy this. This is not correct for your poster, but the example given is upset and tired from the constant cold. The eagles have decided to migrate south to Florida and stay there. So that is our change. So on your poster, you can get creative. You can be like, I don't know, using this one, you can go nuts and say that prairie dogs decided they don't like Minnesota, so they the traitorous dogs went to Wisconsin or something like that. You can get creative. So that's going to go in here. Say what the disturbance is, so which animal or organism is disappearing and why. Once you're done with that, you're going to redraw your poster, or redraw the food web rather. And exactly as you did before. So literally what you have over here, copy it exactly, except leave out the organism that is now missing. And once you have that, then you can go ahead and add the pluses and minuses like we were doing in our notes. So if as a result of the prairie dogs being gone, now we have more grass, you're going to put a plus sign next to the grass or something like that. And that where your pluses and minuses go is totally dependent on what your disturbance is. Okay, so that is the redraw. Here's an example using the notes example here. Here's my original food web. Here's my second food web. So this person did eagles were gone, so the eagles are no longer present. Do you see how that works? There used to be an eagle here. Now there's nothing. So then we show how the rest of the food web is affected. I want to see at least 4 organisms with a plus or a minus. That's how it will be graded. So you don't have to do every single one, but do at least 4. So once you're done with that, I want you to do the short-term effects. So what are the short-term effects? So that's pretty much what you did on the secondary food web. What are 3 things that happen? So the prairie dog population increased because blah, 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 fill in the blank. Here's the example that you can use. And again, this is a different food web, so don't copy that. That'll be wrong. Once you do that, a year later, so here's the disturbance. Your population does all sorts of crazy things. Now, a year later, the population of each of the species has had some time to kind of recover and recuperate and re-find homeostasis. So what's gonna be happening now? So you're gonna describe 3 possible outcomes. And again, there's like 100 ways to do this right. So I really can't tell you what the right answer is. You need to be logical. Once you're done with that, you're gonna create a graph. And that graph is going to go here. So the setup is basically the same for all of us. What you see here in black, organism versus time, organism before, during, and after. This is time. So this section is the section from your first food web. This is during the disturbance. Remember we said the eagles left, so the eagle population decreased here. That resulted in the snake population increasing. So what you'll do when you do this graph, when you see how the snake population has a plus, then you know that the line for the snake population is going to be stable, but then it's going to spike upward. And then after, snakes stop increasing, less birds to eat. So the snake line is going to be headed downward. So you're just using what you've already done to create these lines. And there does need to be at least 4 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to see plants, and I want to see 3 of the other organisms. And that's it. It is a lot, so it does take you quite a bit of time. But again, use your logic, and it should be pretty doable. Here's the grading rubric. It's also on Schoology. And here's an overall example of what the completed product should look like. And let me know if you have any questions.